It's been a while since we've talked about being overweight. Obviously, that's the only thing I have an expertise in. This video is called "Thin Privilege is Having Men Be Attracted to You." Fat Acceptance TikTok, and it's from Funty Times. I think, I don't know. I really can't speak. Let's just go.
God, I know. Thin privilege, it's so not real.
So
I
not
know that you
real.
can't go into stores and find clothes in your size. I know you can't just go to Target and grab a medium hoodie off the rack. I know that you can't just go to In-N-Out and get large fries and a burger without anyone judging you. People
Okay.
actually thank you for normalizing getting fast food and normalizing and helping them with their eating disorders. It's just so hard.
Wait, that one just sounds like she's complaining about people who have eating disorders in the opposite direction. They're like too skinny and they're like, "Oh, thank you for eating with me," or something. Now she's just, well, listen, bro. I don't know if I would call it like a thin privilege, because I think the concept of like privilege is weird. Like being thin is, or being a healthy size, because being too thin is unhealthy. I feel like that's just default, right? That's just supposed to be default mode. You know what I mean? And then unfortunately, people gain a lot of weight, and it's a lot of times it's like different issues. First of all, you're a fat person. It's 100% like your control. It's hard though. It's easy to lose weight, not easy to keep the weight off, right? Well, we know there's systemic issues as to why people are overweight. You know, we have very addictive foods and whatnot. Our FDA is ineffective. We have healthcare problems that prevent people from really being able to get, or it's very expensive to get things like insulin, which can help you get the motivation to go back to the gym. Because if you're insulin dependent, that means that like you're probably like feeling super sluggish all the time. You know, there's a lot of these different things, but like, so I call it like a fat disprivilege, I guess. Like, it sucks. I'm a big guy too. It sucks not being able to find clothing, but like, I wouldn't, call that a thin issue. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not thin people's fault that I'm fat. I don't know. Like, sometimes you got to buy some more airplane seats. I've never actually had to do that before. Wow, that died so easily. I got fucking killed like 3 times by that. You buy a couple extra seats. A lot of airlines have like a thing where you buy an extra seat, and then they'll refund you if you don't use them all. So I don't know. I just wouldn't call it I don't know. I don't like the privilege stuff. Call it. I don't know. It sucks, but like maybe make some ways to lose weight. And again, like slow effort. Try to get that 20-minute walk in every day. Don't drink your calories. Try to have whole grain carbs if you're gonna have anything. Stuff like that.
And I know that
Eat fibrous, nutrient-dense vegetables every meal. Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing? You know what I mean? I love you too. Yeah.
guys totally don't prefer like moderately thin women.
Well, yeah, guys do prefer thinner women. I think that guys now like prefer like women that are like not as thin anymore. I think that like the beauty standards have shifted a bit to like thick-hipped women that are a little chunky. That's just what I think, but I certainly like it. But like again, like that's that now we're bordering like shaming people for not wanting to fuck you. You know what I mean? Like if I walked up to a woman and she wasn't attracted to me, and I was like, "Oh, so you won't fuck me? Oh, what a privilege." You know what I mean? You'd call that harassing them. But according to some fat acceptance people, the people that become toxic with it, like this person seems to be, like it's like shaming people into wanting to fuck you is acceptable, I guess.
They are usually Eurocentric and white. It's just so hard. Like, it's so
Eurocentric and
not
white?
real and it doesn't exist.
Isn't that what she is?
And just
Dude, she's fucking railing out the fattest fart right now.
fat people have it
You hear
so easy and it's so normalized to be thick.
Thick.
I
Thick
get
and
your
fat are probably a
struggle.
little
I
different.
really do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So she gave a few examples of what thin privilege is. She said buying clothes off the rack is thin privilege. It isn't.
Like it's more about the availability. Like it's difficult. I know somebody was like, "No, it's easy. Walmart has 5X now." Not everywhere. Not, at least not by me. It's still a little difficult to find clothes that fit for me. But like, I'm not calling it like a fucking disprivilege here. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
She then said that some stores not having plus size clothes is thin privilege. But there are also a lot of stores that are plus size only, like Torrid. So
There are not a lot of stores. Like, I just want to be explicitly clear. There are not a lot of stores, and Torrid's quality is really shit, and it's really expensive. Like the fat clothes is an issue, and you could say it's because there's not as much of like a demand for it. That's fine, but like it is not as available at all. A lot of the sections are taking plus size out of their thing. So there is not a huge availability of exclusively fat people stores. That's just not true. But there is some available. You can get them online, but it makes it difficult when you buy stuff online because then you can't like test it yourself. And like, yeah, there's issues. I just wouldn't call it a privilege, and I wouldn't turn myself into a fucking victim about it.
are thin people oppressed in those stores? Then she said that eating burgers without judgment is thin privilege. eating food without judgment.
I will say, like, you know, just because I'm a fat piece of shit, it doesn't mean you have to stare at me while I have my burger. Okay, I know I'm fat. You're not going to make it in, but that part is like an issue. Just like, yeah, well, I'm fucking chunking it out. Like, just leave me alone. You know, give me the side eye, but don't let me know. You know,
Isn't a privilege. She also said that being thanked for helping people with their EDs is a privilege. That isn't a privilege, and it's also not exclusive to thin people. I've seen a lot of fat people getting praised for helping other people recover from their ED, so I think you're just not looking in the right places.
I think she's talking about like on TikTok. It's mostly thin people that are like, "Oh, you ate today," and they're getting like praised for it. But that's like an eating disorder. I mean, I think that like you probably have some kind of maybe some kind of bad relationship with food at least, but maybe even an eating disorder if you're fucking obese. Just opposite direction.
And lastly, she said that men preferring thin women is thin privilege. That's not a privilege because having someone attracted to you physically or romantically isn't a right. And then she also mentioned that men prefer women that are white and Eurocentric.
Yeah, I mean, probably like, you know, like European beauty standards, Western beauty standards are pretty like those exist for sure. But she is that. So
First of all, what does that have to do with thin privilege? And second,
well, she's just trying to like fucking woke load it, you know.
are you not white
Over
and
woke
Eurocentric?
load.
I don't understand why the white and Eurocentric thing was mentioned. But overall,
just fucking woke,
none
bro.
of these are privileges. And if we're going to consider them privileges, let's also point out all of the fat privileges that exist. Like most clothing stores selling plus-size clothing at the same price as smaller sizes.
That's not true, bro. Listen, this is the problem. Okay, sometimes we go overcorrect here. Okay, you know, fat acceptance movement is good because it's supposed to be about teaching you to love your body so you'll change it and become healthier. And then we've overcorrected by saying that everything is fatphobic, and then this is an overcorrect because it's not the same price. That's not true at all. I don't know what to tell you. I literally am fat. I know that's not true.
Plus-size clothing is often sold at the same price as normal-size clothing,
No,
even though it takes
incorrect. What you're saying is incorrect. I don't know what to tell you.
more fabric and more energy to make plus-size clothes. So the cost of your clothing is being subsidized by smaller people. Privilege.
No.
Or that your heating bills are lower. If you have more fat on your body,
You're if this person said this comedically, I'd be like, that would be very funny. Come on, bro, I dodged that. Get the fuck out of here. This game is oppressing the
you'll
fuck out of
probably
me.
stay warmer in the winter, which means lower heating bills.
Yeah, but you're gonna be hotter in the summer, so it's gonna like average it out. Like, you know what I mean, bro? Stop fucking with me.
Fat privilege. And she said that not being judged for the food you're eating is thin privilege. But what about all the thin people that get shamed for eating too little at Christmas dinner every year?
Oh, yeah, that happens sometimes. If you were joking, this would be a funny video. But like the fact that you're not being like you're being serious is like silly to me. That you think that that's like a privilege. What the fuck? All right, that's crazy.
Is that not thin oppression? Now, to be clear, I don't think any of those things are privileges, just like I don't think any of the things
Okay, I guess
listed in
they
the
were kinda
video were
joking.
privileges. But if you're going to consider buying clothes at Target and eating a burger without judgment to be a privilege, then there are a lot of ways in which being fat is also a privilege, which
I mean, it's
just goes to show that thin privilege isn't real. And if you want to know more about my opinions
I call it fat disprivilege, guys. Okay, you're disprivileging your arteries. All right.
on that, I have an entire video where I break down in detail why thin privilege isn't real.
Okay.
I'll link it above and you can go watch it. But yeah, none of the points in this video were actual privileges.
Where the fuck am I supposed to go, bro?
Why should I be calm? I have a right.
This is okay. When there is literally a less than 1% chance a person of my size will ever been thin, but everyone thinks fat people just don't try hard enough. I mean, listen, bro. If you're fat, just be like, yeah, I am. You know what I mean? Like, just that's as far as it has to go. We don't have to gaslight ourselves into thinking like, at the end of the day, you're the only one that can really control your weight. It can be hard. We talked about that before. It can be difficult for sure. Like, let's not ignore that. But I mean, like, can we not like do this whole thing where like, oh, I'm trying so hard? Like, you might be. That's the thing. You might actually be trying hard to lose weight as a fat person. But the problem is like oh, this is like a common thing that fat people do, and it's part of like negative diet culture. What happens is I get fucking thrown up on, and then I walk around like an asshole, and I can't fucking do anything. What ends up happening is that people will diet, like maybe they'll diet and they'll exercise all day, and then they'll binge at night. Sorry, I farted. And then they'll binge at night. Okay. Damn, that really threw me off. That fart. I've been having sugar-free candy a lot because I'm trying to lose weight and like get healthier. So now I've got gas. I'm sorry, guys. It's apparently sorry. We're doing too much. But yeah, so what happens is like a lot of times people will have a bad relationship with food. They'll undereat significantly, and then they'll binge eat really, really, really badly. at some point, and which completely negates it, and they'll do that on a daily basis. It's a problem. It's part of like diet culture not teaching people the correct things. I think that we need a less of a focus on losing weight and more of a focus on health, which will cause you to lose weight. But when people focus on losing weight, when they don't see the numbers on the scale, they get like really self-conscious. They feel like they failed. They think and then they have these interactions where they're like, oh yeah, I can't lose weight. I just don't think I can. You know, that's the problem. You know, and people, they just have to have the correct approach about it. How the fuck? Oh, I just have to hit R1 here. I think. No, I don't. What the fuck, dude?
Right to be upset!
So if you didn't read the TikTok, it says, when there's literally less than a 1% chance a person of my size will ever be thin, but everyone thinks fat people just don't try hard enough. So she's saying that effort doesn't matter when trying to lose weight because less than 1% of fat people will ever become thin. But weight loss isn't impossible, and there haven't been any comprehensive studies done on the likelihood of achieving intentional weight loss done in the past 20 years. So this less than 1% number makes me very suspicious. So
it's probably people who like tried to lose weight and it just didn't pan out for them because they didn't like commit to it in some capacity. How the fuck do I get through here?
Went digging in the comment section to see if there was any citation for where this number came from. And y'all, this creator, Maddie, came out swinging in the comments to defend this statistic while spreading a whole bunch of other misinformation in the process. So let's go on a hunt for this 1% statistic because a bunch of other people that saw this video also did. I found no less than 10 comments where people asked where this number was from, and Maddie's response was always some variation of, Google it. Someone asked, but why? I don't get why it's so low. Her response, give her a Google. There are plenty of resources out there. Give it a Google. Where did you get this percentage from? Quick Google. Literally, where did you get this statistic?
I mean, I guess we'll have to give it a Google.
Pretty easy to find with a quick Google. Fun tip. When I don't trust a fact, I love to do my own research. It's a good life skill. 1% is pure misinformation. Google it. This is TikTok, babe, not a news site. Google it yourself. I guess I should make a video on this since none of you have any interest in typing into Google. And some people were so...
Let's see. People with obesity have slim chance of obtaining normal body weight. Oh, okay. I already see what's going to happen here. Researchers say less than 1% of obese people get back to a healthy body weight. So this is like super duper misleading because I'm going to guarantee you that it's based off of the BMI scale. And what they're saying is like, let's say I'm 350 pounds and let's say BMI says I should be 150. I don't really know what it would say, right? Probably would say like I'm 200, but let's say it would say I'm 200. I'm 350 right now. So then it says that my healthy body weight is 200. If I go from 350 to 250, I'm not in a healthy body weight. BMI wise, but I'm still healthier, right? So this statistic is actually saying it's just dumb. It's a very misleading statistic, and clearly there's at least one person using it to justify why they're overweight. Because when you look at something like this and just go, oh, I guess I just can't lose weight. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't help you at all. What is this here? Is it a gun? Do I need this? I don't know. This isn't helpful at all. This is not helping anybody. It's not making anything better. And that's really what's happening here. So, like, yeah, you can lose the weight. You don't have to get perfect. You just have to get better, you know? That's really all it is.
So kind in how they asked, and were completely giving her the benefit of the doubt, and this was her response.
Well, I mean, yeah, her response is fine. The statistics she used is fucking dog shit garbage, but her response is fine. Of like, go look it up. I just did. I just have to type like in like 1%, blah, 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 whatever.
Someone
I'll put it in the description.
asked, can we get a source for that statistic? I believe it, but I'm curious where it came from. She responded, I'll probably make a video eventually, but it's a quick Google. Someone replied, what exactly do I search to prove that less than 1% of people your size or larger can become slimmer?
You just Google that, literally. Put that in the search bar. Just put that in the search bar. Like, not for nothing, but, you know, come on. Some of these people need to just do their
Maddie replies, well, clearly you didn't look because it's very easy to find.
Yeah,
the person replied,
was pretty easy.
No, I didn't look, as I'd like to know what I should search to prove your point. I'm not hating. I genuinely like to view your sources.
How the fuck do I get
and she gave no
here?
response. Someone asked, source? Maddie replied, give her a Google. And the person replied, Google what exactly? So I'm clearly not the only person that really wanted a source for this claim. But Maddie goes on to say, if you take this video as me telling people to give up, you need better comprehension skills. I'm asking you to stop assuming we're lazy. It's wrong. Why are you blocking people and deleting their comments even if they're being respectful?
I mean, that's fair. Okay.
Maddie says, I don't delete respectful comments. The reply says, yes, you do. I have screenshots of my friend commenting. You blocked him and deleted all his comments even though he wasn't being rude. If I blocked him, he was being rude. It's not something you get to have an opinion on, honestly. No, he wasn't. He explained how you misinterpreted the statistic and asked for a source and you blocked him. Maddie replies, I don't need to argue with people who have decided that my body is their opinion. I didn't misinterpret the statistic and I've said, Google it. If you and your friend don't want to learn and you want to get all up in arms about me deleting comments, truly have fun. But
So you guys don't respond to the comments.
realistically, you could just move on with your day or read other comments in which I've shared sources. My question is why you're taking screenshots. Why are you so up in arms about a stranger's video? Move on with your day. The person replies, what? What does my body is their opinion even mean? And now you're just changing the argument. My point is very simple. Don't try to change people's minds, and when they try to have a respectful discussion, you block them. Maddie replies, if I blocked him, it wasn't respectful. You can tell by these comments. I clearly have no problem with having a discussion.
Online
A different
bickering.
person replies, why are you lying?
Both of them are annoying. I mean, just go look it up.
I've seen you
It's not
delete
hard.
plenty of respectful comments. You deleted a comment asking for a source. How is that disrespectful? Probably asked in a rude way. Don't remember. I've given sources in the comments, and it's easy to Google. TikTok doesn't require a bibliography. The person replies, why are you being difficult on purpose? This is not how you convince people of your views. Maddie replies, I'm being difficult? That's hilarious. Maybe the person I replied to deleted their comment. I don't know. I researched and listened to a bunch of studies. I'm not going to do that for every commenter. Just fucking Google it. There was a study in London from what I remember, and one on Healthline, I believe. But you have the skills to use the internet. I believe in you. The person replied, just make a comment with your sources and pin it. If someone asks for a fact, when they ask where you learned it from,
What's funny is that like they're both going back and this is like a ridiculously easy to find, and they're both going back and forth on it when they both like clearly it's not an effort issue. Neither of them are like lacking in the effort or ability to do this task. They're both just being lazy and they're like annoying online bickering idiots. Like who cares about them? Both of them are very annoying. Like these commenters in this scenario.
don't just say Google is free, because that's rude and just plain weird. If I
It's not free. You actually have to have an iPhone with it. I find that to be like a super duper classist that you would even insinuate it. Like your privileged perspective in America suggests to you that like everything is free, but like realistically speaking, there are actual like internet. In order to get the internet, you have to like fucking abuse 17,000 people in a different country. Like I don't think that you understand that. There's literally people in other countries starving right now, and you're saying that it's free. This stuff costs money. Okay.
I told you black mambas have extremely deadly venom, then you ask me where I found out, and I tell you Google is free, are you going to be annoyed? Or are you going to say, oh yeah, you're right, my bad for being lazy and asking someone to cite their sources. I should just find the sources myself because I can totally tell which source they learned it from. And Maddie replies, the irony of calling a fat person lazy and then being too lazy to Google is not lost on me. This person didn't call her lazy. They made a sarcastic reference about themselves being lazy, but she saw the word lazy and that was it. It was directed towards her. So yeah, people were trying really hard to find where the source of this 1% claim came from, and she would not provide it. She just told people to Google it and that they were lazy for not finding it themselves. But aside from that, Maddie also replied to a lot of comments with more misinformation when it comes to the health risks of obesity.
Did you look it up yourself? It doesn't sound like this creator looked it up. Why not look it up? Bro, die.
And how people become obese. One commenter said, wait, I genuinely don't understand what this means. Like, why can't people do it?
What?
Obese. One commenter said information when it comes to the health risks of obesity and how people become obese.
Are you going to show us the misinformation she passed along?
One commenter said, wait, I genuinely don't understand what this means. Like, why can't people do it? Maddie replies, genetic cases aren't that rare. Not sure who told you that.
Listen, I'm sure that there is like a genetic factor to like being overweight. Like maybe you have a slower metabolism or something, or like I don't know. There's also a factor of your body what is it called? Thermogenics? I could be wrong about that. Like the way that your body processes all the food that you eat and whatnot, and like how much heat it requires. So, like weird shit. But at the end of the day, like it's calories in, calories out. And it's about like there are systemic issues, but like literally everybody can lose weight. You know, there's very rare cases where like it was justifiable. Like yesterday I saw a TikTok of a really overweight young kid. And I was like, wow, that's like really rough. I don't want a kid like that. And I was like, why? And I thought like, why would you do that to your kid? So I looked into it, and one of the pinned things was like, hey, my kid got a fucking brain tumor, and it had this impact of I don't know, in some capacity causing him to be overweight. I'm like, oh, that I understand. Like, I mean, like that's fucked. You know, like that, I get that. You know what I mean? But there's very few, even if you have like low metabolism, even thyroid problems, you can lose weight. It's about like increasing your energy level and eating better. It's hard because like food is addictive, right? But you have to like always work on that addiction. Or, you know, because you're only really hurting yourself. So
Someone replies, genetic cases that prevent you from losing weight are not common at all. There are very few that do that. Maddie replies, untrue, babe. Another commenter says, genetics don't defy thermodynamics. Maddie says, and
Yeah,
you think 99%
thermodynamics,
of people
that
are
was
just
what it was.
lazy? Someone else says, I think 99% of people aren't in a caloric deficit for a significant period of time.
yeah, that's true. I wouldn't say it's lazy. Like I said, the heaviest I ever was almost 400 pounds when I worked like 60 hours a week. So it's not really. I mean, like obviously, if you're not physically moving a lot,
Yes,
Losing weight is all about accountability.
sure. I think it's about having personal accountability while also acknowledging systemic issues and like trying to lose weight over the long run instead of trying to like crash diet. Because again, we have bad diet culture. Like the Biggest Loser. Oh, you didn't lose fucking 10 pounds in a week? Wow, you're a fucking loser. These are all things that have a negative. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to do that. Fuck.
All of these commenters are right. Genetic cases that cause people to become obese, especially morbidly obese, are very rare, and most people are obese because they overeat. But she also makes some really broad generalizations in some of these comments. Someone said,
yeah. What does she make generalizations about fucking broads?
you don't destroy your metabolism with dieting, you destroy it by incorrectly dieting. And Maddie said,
Yeah, that's my understanding. If you incorrectly diet, like you crash diet and you eat like nothing, I mean, a lot of people will end up failing because of that, and then it ruins their metabolism. So, like, yeah, that can happen.
yeah, we all incorrectly dieted growing up. That's the point. Who's we? All fat people? If
Yeah,
we're saying
that's-
incorrect dieting means fad diet,
I mean, you could still reverse it though.
that's not true. Not all fat people grew up going on fad diets. That might be your experience and some other people's experiences, but it's not.
I think that might be like I feel like we didn't learn to diet well at all growing up or anything. I feel like we were in a generation that didn't really understand. Well, there was definitely like diet culture, but I don't know. I wish that they taught us like how to cook and stuff in high school and stress the importance of it. I thought I picked that gun up. What the fuck? Come on, pick it up. Oh my god, you're shooting me. You can't do this.
Everybody's experience. And she said in another comment, having an eating disorder destroys your metabolism. The idea that fat people just eat a lot is ridiculous. This isn't
yeah, they do eat a
true.
lot.
I have no doubt that an ED can ruin your metabolism, but not to the point where you are obese or morbidly obese without consuming excess calories.
Well, yeah, of course. It would just make it harder because your excess calorie consumption would be lower. Oh my god. It would just be like your what is it called? Your baseline calorie, like whatever caloric intake would be lowered. So it makes it, you son of a bitch. It would make it more difficult to lose that weight.
Nobody's eating 1,500 calories a day and is morbidly obese just because their metabolism was ruined. Another commenter said, it's like, seriously? It took time to get to this size. It takes time to get it off. Also, not to forget the mental health issues we also have to combat. So at least this commenter acknowledges that the weight can come off with time. But Maddie replies, even if we had no other health issues, which to be honest, every fat person has other health issues,
Probably.
fat shaming and
Not every one of them, like, but it's going to happen as you get older. It depends on your level of obesity, but yeah, generally, sure.
stigma cause weight gain. Like, stop. So every other fat person has health issues? Are you saying those health issues are caused by being fat? Or are you saying being fat is caused?
I mean, yeah, they are probably saying that being that their health issues causing their obesity. I'm saying that, like, I think that fat people, like, you can be fat and healthy, but that usually means that you're young. If you're somebody that's fat and you went to the doctor and they're like, "Oh, your blood's good," you should still try to like lose weight. And you can take it like obviously slow. Dude, I fucking dodge rolled out. The dodging in this game fucking sucks. You should still try to like lose weight, because like eventually you're gonna get older and it'll put a stress on your body. But yeah, generally speaking, it's gonna lead to like some kind of health problem.
By those other issues. But aside from those claims, Maddie waffles back and forth in the comments over what the purpose of this TikTok was. Because a lot of people are saying that the statistic is wrong and she's using it to try to discourage people from attempting weight loss, which is how I would interpret it. But someone commented, just because only less than 1% manage to lose weight doesn't mean it's impossible, and doesn't mean they shouldn't try, and nothing worth having comes easy. And Maddie said, don't know where
Again,
I said
it's not that they can't lose weight, it's that they don't get to a normal health. They don't get to a healthy weight size according to BMI, I believe.
shouldn't try. Another person said, people don't like to hear this because it means that their own weight loss efforts are mostly futile. They get defensive. And Maddie replies, true, man. In another comment, she says, the less than 1% are very loud about their success, and we as a society cling to it. The statistic I posted is fact. It's not based on what you saw. And someone replied, you were trying to advocate that that sort of weight loss is near impossible, which could discourage some people out there from trying. And Maddie says, it is near impossible. I'm allowed to talk about facts. Another comment says,
Facts.
weight loss is hard, but
Everybody
not
can
impossible
opinions.
like this girl is making it out to be. And Maddie replies, don't see the word impossible anywhere in the video. But in another comment, she says, just because something is, quote, possible, doesn't mean it's something we should kill ourselves over. So she goes back and forth between
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Fucking not eating well is killing you. Okay, I'm just letting you know that. It's like from personal experience.
saying, I didn't say it's impossible, but also agreeing that it's
I didn't
mostly
say it was
futile,
impossible. It's
nearly impossible,
impossible.
and putting the word possible in quotes as if to say that it's
Impossible.
not possible.
Call
So her
me
reasoning for
impossible.
making this TikTok isn't to convince other people not to attempt weight loss, but she's just giving out a statistic that shows that weight loss is impossible. She's not saying that weight loss is impossible. The statistic is saying that weight loss is impossible. But weight loss is possible. There's no modern scientific evidence that shows that there is a 1%, 5%, 10% chance of being able to achieve intentional weight loss. So while she says the reason for making this TikTok was to just share a factual statistic that happens to support the idea that intentional weight loss is nearly impossible, her actual
I'm still baffled that like nobody else was managed to find this statistic. Like, and even the person who made this video so far, like, well, why not? It exists. You can find it, so you can debunk it.
reason for making this
How did I walk through this? What the fuck? Okay.
is the other way around. She believes that intentional weight loss is impossible, so she made up this 1% number to try to
She didn't make it up. She's like misquoting a fucking dog shit statistic.
convince other people that intentional weight loss is impossible. And you can tell this is true by how hard she's fighting in the comments to not have to reveal the source of where she got this 1% number. If all this TikTok was meant to do was to share a fact, then it shouldn't be this hard to share the source
Beep, bop,
of
boop,
that
boop.
fact. Because remember, we're still on the hunt for the source of this 1% number. But the full version of that last comment said, just because something is, quote, possible, doesn't mean it's something we should all kill ourselves over. And we do. Fat people are made to feel inhuman.
You're gonna die anyway, so you're gonna enjoy your Oreos. You can have Oreos healthily, you know what I mean?
And a reply says, interesting choice of words, considering unhealthy weight leads to more disease and generally premature death. Maddie says, that's actually blown way out of proportion.
That's certainly not, but okay.
I recommend the podcast maintenance phase if
I don't recommend that podcast. I recommend a doctor, okay? I don't, you know?
you want to learn more about that. And if you don't know anything about maintenance phase, it is ground zero for the spread of misinformation when it comes to obesity and weight loss, particularly in the fat acceptance community. So it is no surprise that she tries to cite a podcast where the hosts have no medical experience as a citation for why obesity is not as unhealthy as people think it is. But that person replies, it's not. It's really not. If you spent one shift in a hospital or any medical theory, you'd know it's not blown out of proportion. But go off. Maddie says, I work for doctors and was raised by them, babe, but you clearly don't.
What? She works for doctors and raised by them? What kind of doctors? Like fucking horse doctors? What is she talking about? Come on, bro. You're just embarrassing yourself at that point. Jesus Christ.
Want to do more research, just want to talk about things you don't understand. I have a suggestion. If you were raised by doctors and you work with doctors, why not have one of them come on your channel and make a video about how fake the obesity crisis is, and how overblown all the health effects of obesity are, and how weight loss is nearly impossible and shouldn't be attempted? Why not do that? It would give a lot more validity to your ideas
I'll just embarrass that doctor, really.
than citing a podcast made by people that are not medical professionals. And let's also point out that the do your own research thing is textbook science denialism behavior. Do your own research is like the battle cry of science deniers everywhere. When they are losing, when they are trying to convince someone else of their nonsensical views, the move they'll pull on their last breath is, you don't know what you're talking about. Do your own research. Think for yourself. Another one of Maddie's comments says, there has never been a single day in my life I haven't actively worked on my body or mental health. How many thin people can say the same? A lot of thin people can
Well, I mean, the real argument you'd say is like, well, they don't have to do as much work because they're not overweight, right? So
say that. Are you saying that most thin people don't take care of themselves?
yeah, I would say so. 1,000%. Most thin people don't take care of themselves. What are you talking about? Absolutely. Like the reality is that like when like most thin people, I'm not saying people who go to like the gym like regularly, et cetera, whatever. Most thin people though are just like, they have never been fat before and they've just eaten whatever they wanted. They just don't want to eat that much for like whatever reason. Maybe there's like a genetic hunger factor. Fuck me. Maybe there's a genetic hunger factor. Maybe they just had better, well, they obviously had better protocols growing up. But yeah, most thin people don't dig about shit. I rolled the wrong way. Fuck. That's absolutely true.
And she said in other comments that the point of this post was to say that fat people aren't lazy, but you have no issue essentially turning that around on thin people and calling them lazy or neglectful or whatever other descriptor you're trying to say that fat people are not. That seems a little backwards. Another comment says, if you stop eating food, I guarantee there is a 100% chance you'll become thin.
Well, if you stop eating food, you'll die. So, like, don't do that. That's one of, like, the difficulties with it, because it's like you have to eat to survive, you know?
Maddie says, no, I will die. The response says,
That's
yes, after you lose all your body fat. I mean, they're both technically right. Another comment says, you
That
can't
was
really put a
a good one.
statistic on that because it depends solely on the person's willingness to stop their addiction and unhealthy habit. I didn't make up the statistic. I didn't say that you did. Now I'm a little conflicted whether you did. Yeah, see, this person knows what's up. And mind you,
Well, they didn't make up the statistic, so just let you know.
we're scrolling through all these comments, searching for where she said that she put the source for this 1% claim. We still haven't found it yet. Another comment says, okay, but nobody gets that big for no reason, and health issues only account for a small percentage of obese people. Many of them do this to themselves. Maddie said,
That I think is ignorant. Like nobody wants to be fat. Okay, I'm not doing it to ourselves. It like usually it's something. It's like it's a behavior that you like grew up with, and it just kind of like when you're younger, especially when you're younger, you don't really feel the negative effects of it too. So it takes a while, and then you get older, and by that time you're kind of like set in your ways, and it's just like there's a lot of different factors here. It obviously it's still in your control, but I don't want to like it's all your fault. It's like there's a lot of systemic issues and shit. So I think it's something to keep in mind.
you're making that up. I've never met an obese person who didn't have another health condition causing it. Okay, so in
That's
that
not
last
true.
comment
You
where
probably get the health condition from obesity.
she said that all fat people have other health conditions,
Yeah, that's
she
like a
was
fucking
saying
Band-Aid.
that they all have health conditions that cause them to become fat. What are these health conditions
Cause them
that
to
all
become.
fat people have that cause them to be fat? Not that are caused by being fat, but directly cause them to be fat. This is not true. There's no evidence that most
Yeah, it's called fatty boom boom syndrome. Okay, have you never heard of that before? That's why I'm fat.
underlying health conditions
shit.
cause people to become obese. What health condition only started becoming common in the past 30 years as the obesity epidemic has taken off? But someone replies to that comment, then how come we never had so many obese people as we do now? Obesity rates have tripled in the past 2 decades. Maddie replies, it's
Because we have like we're lazier as a culture. We have like a lot of like the internet. Jesus Christ, bro! Why it's supposed to auto aim to an extent? Fucking oh my god. Yeah. What was I saying? There's like a laziness and shit. People are. Sorry, people are using the internet more. They're being lazier. A lot of their hobbies like revolve around staying inside in some capacity. That's just kind of where we're at. There's also fast food cultures. There are food deserts, but like I think that we have an ineffective FDA, marketing like very addictive. Bro, I dodged that. Are you fucking with my balls right now? Woo! This is a little spicy, guys.
interesting that you bring up that point. Do you truly think in the past few decades we have just gotten lazier? It's clear there's another reason.
Yes. We have. It's objective truth. Technology makes people lazy. What do you mean? We have gotten lazier. What are you talking about?
No, but they for sure are eating more junk than they should be, and now the media enables this, calling it body positivity. This
Bro, we need to stop blaming obesity on like body positivity because it's just very ignorant. Body positivity came from fat people not wanting to be like violently harassed all the time and like fucking looked at like worthless pieces of shit. So they started creating like fat inclusion movements saying like, hey, just because you're fat, you're not a worthless person. The idea is so that you have self-confidence so that you can go to like the gym because it could be hard going to the gym. Part of it is because like people judge you at the gym, or you might even just perceive that they judge you, but people do it before. People have judged me being at the gym before. Like it shit happens. You kind of have to toughen up, but like that's just the reality. And so it's about like making it so that people can go outside for walks or like go to the gym or like be able to eat food without being like shamed. You know what I mean? Like if I go to the gym,
super chatted $1.
hey, thank you so much. Like my wife lost 2 pounds last week, so I gave we went out and got like a little treat, and it's like, oh, you're gonna judge me for that? Like why? Problem is that it went too far, of course, and now there's some people that are like justifying it, and then it's got like most of the other movements, it goes too far. But that doesn't mean that the movement fundamentally is bad. The real thing that it comes from, again, is like systemic issues, like that, like of different, like lazy, well, us being lazy as a society because of technology, not teaching proper diet culture, etc. I fucking died for real.
person also knows what's up. This next comment says, I'm sorry, but how? Maddie says, a quick Google. Tons of studies. The person replies, any keywords? Maddie says,
Dude,
there's an article by Healthline,
Oh, okay.
one by NCBI, one from King's College London on the website Science Alert, and more. The hunt is
More
finally
like Nerd Alert.
over. We found the sources. Okay, so she said there's a Healthline article. That's way too vague to point to any specific article. There's literally thousands of Healthline articles and a bunch of them on weight loss, so I can't know which one she's talking about. The one from NCBI has a lot of studies. It's kind of just a database of studies. So I looked it up and I typed in NBCI weight loss and I got all of these results, just a ton of results. and I have no clue which one she's referring to. I even clicked on a few of them, and I didn't see anything about 1%, but I'm also not going to read through all of them just to guess which one she's talking about. And I even Google searched it with the 1% term, and I still got all these results. And the top source was from 2004 and didn't mention anything about less than 1%. And this goes to show why people were asking for specific studies when they asked Maddie for her sources, because this is what happens when you tell people to just Google something, especially something as vague as weight loss. You get a bunch of results, and I guess she wanted her viewers to go through all of these studies to find the one that supports her 1% statistic, which sounds very tedious, especially considering she claims to already have the source in her possession and is just refusing to provide it. But the third source, from King's College, I actually did find, and I think this was what she was referring to in the earlier comment when she said that there was a study from London. But the main thing to note about this study is that it was not an intentional weight loss study. It tracked people over a 9-year period and kept track of who lost weight and who didn't. But it never tracked who in the study was trying to lose weight. In fact, it took out bariatric surgery patients from the data. So yes, according to this study, there is less than a 1% chance of getting to a healthy body weight if you are obese. But not all of the 99% of people who didn't succeed even tried.
Right, and also a healthy body weight is going to be based on BMI. It doesn't actually count weight loss. It just counts like getting to what you would be considered a healthy body weight.
And she said multiple times in the comments that this is a fact and it proves that weight loss is nearly impossible. But the statistic was heavily misrepresented. But there's another comment here that says, this is kind of misleading. Those chances are not because it's hard, but because many people at that point don't even try. Not saying it's easy. And Maddie replies, studies have been done in control groups, which means they were trying actually. But there's only one study you've brought forward to support your statistic, and 1, it didn't track if people were actually trying, and 2, it didn't have control groups.
We classify participants according to their BMI value for the first year. Blah, 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 BMI gender. We'll see. I mean, if it's probably okay.
Because it didn't track if people were trying. So both of these are untrue when it comes to her only source that backs up this 1% statistic. So I don't know if she didn't read the study or just misinterpreted it or expected nobody to actually go look at it. But that source does not support the idea that there is a 1% chance of achieving intentional weight loss. Overall, the entire comment section was a mess. There were so many false and weird claims made, like genetic disorders that cause obesity are very common, and that all fat people have underlying health conditions that cause them to be fat, and that thin people don't take care of their health. Not to mention the assertion that supposedly factual information that is stated on TikTok doesn't need to be cited because TikTok doesn't require a bibliography and Google is free, which only opens the door for people to spread as much misinformation as they possibly can and say literally anything on TikTok with no scientific evidence or citations needed. I could make a whole TikTok account about bringing awareness to the magical and healing effects of eating styrofoam, and you can't ask me for proof. Google is free.
Oh, I was just looking for like the sources cited in here. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know, since they mentioned that you didn't need a Bible. I mean, I don't know. Okay.
You can't find any sources? Well, you're not looking hard enough. But this comment section as a whole exemplifies the behavior of any science denialism group. Instead of providing sources for their often outlandish claims, they either tell people to do their own research to educate themselves, or provide a resource to a non-credible Facebook source, or in this case, a non-credible podcast. If it takes this much work to find a source for someone's claim, then don't believe the claim. She went comment by comment, telling people to Google the source of her claim themselves.
This game is called Redeemer.
Instead of writing and painting a comment saying, hey, here are my sources, since so many people have asked. That would have taken significantly less time. But instead, she buried the 1.5 sources she had at the bottom of her comment section, and then got angry at people for refusing to go through the tedious work I did in order to find them. And it's all because she knows her claim is wrong. But we're going to watch one more TikTok.
She probably believes the claim. She probably she probably interprets the information in a way that makes her feel like she's right about what she's saying. I hate these enemies. You know, one thing that's annoying about this game is that like I was playing it yesterday for a while, and like the difficulty just like spikes out of nowhere. I hate games like that. So like you don't really learn how to deal with like these difficult enemies very well, and then boom, they thrust like a bunch of them upon you. and then like you gotta like fucking kind of like learn how to deal with them. It's kind of annoying.
Creator.
So I got a comment on one of my posts the other day that said, lose weight, it's not rocket science. And you know what? You are so right. It's not rocket science. I wish it were rocket science. Rocket science makes sense. Rocket science is based in definitive answers. It's based in math.
Oh,
Nutrition
no.
and weight
What you
loss
doing?
is not that. There's a reason the diet industry is completely capitalistic.
It is simple. The only thing of charitability I'll give to her is that like people like fuck up the interpretation of it so poorly and badly, and like they don't take into account the mental health aspects to losing weight. A lot of people who try to lose weight, like when they have one bad time, they'll be like, "Oh, I guess I can't lose weight. Like I fucked up," and it's like a toxic fucking relationship there.
It's because everybody's looking for an answer. Everybody's looking
Fuck
for the
you,
right
bro.
way. And sadly, the truth is there is no answer. It's not as simple as a calorie deficit.
It
Going
is.
to the gym.
It is as simple as a calorie deficit, but then like it's one of those things where people, if you restrict too much too quickly, people are going to feel like so restricted that they're not going to stick to the diet, which is why you want to start like slowly,
Just not eating cake or eating salad. Each person's weight loss journey is
Especially like it is that simple. It's just not as easy because again, you're addicted to food. So it makes it harder when you have like an addiction to it, especially since you need to eat, you know what I mean? So it makes it a little difficult. I'm not saying that like it's impossible or that should make you give up. It's just something to be aware of so that you could properly do it. So it's like instead of not eating that cake, like have like a fucking half of the cake that you were going to have. You know what I mean? Have a banana instead or have a banana and wait a half an hour. And if you still have that sweet craving, because that's part of it, it's just like a craving, then, you can operate from there.
personal to them and only makes sense for their body. Each body is different. There are hundreds of factors that affect weight loss. So before you go commenting because it was so easy for you or because you think it should be easy, remember, it's not rocket science.
Well, fucking die.
So she mentioned that the diet industry is capitalistic and looking for an answer when it comes to weight loss.
Well, it is capitalistic in the sense that it wants you to engage. Like if you this thing is just running. If you think about it, like what's the point? Like if you're a nutritionist and you're trying to sell, you're not going to give somebody an effective diet that they can stick to. On top of that, a lot of these are fad diets. There really is like, just do your best to have calories in, calories out. And like, there's no big breakdown on like the mental. Oh, I thought that would pause the game. On like the mental health aspect of it, that would allow you to take time and like, okay, I'll take time. I'll lose weight. I won't like get destroyed when I make a mistake. Those are some of the big things that people have problems with.
First of all,
Not like my wife and I were eating really well before we went to Disney like last year, and then we went for that week and it's disrupted us so much that we couldn't maintain, like we just didn't get back into it. It's just so weird. Those are some like issues there that people have to push through.
not all diets are created by the diet industry. You can make long-term healthy changes to your diet, which is what a good diet is, and also not support the diet industry. For example, if you switch from eating chips or cookies as a snack to eating fruit, or switching your liquid calories like soda to water. Neither of these changes
Bro, open
support
up.
the diet industry,
Open the
but you are still
door.
changing your diet in a healthy way. And second, the diet industry isn't looking for answers. It's looking to sell you something.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why if you look for a long-term weight
Well, that's kind of her point though, right? So like you kind of like for that in that part with that, you gave her a little bit of
loss solution from the diet industry,
Bro,
you'll
come on.
probably be disappointed. And probably why you've tried fad diet after fad diet and it hasn't worked.
Right, yeah, but that's like one of the problems, especially when like the diet is in like, oh, health fart magazine tells you that here 10 ways to lose this. People need to be more responsible and find things better. And like she's looking at fucking medical information that justifies her not losing weight. So obviously, she knows that she could look into easier things or better things. But like to her, a little bit of her point, like yeah, there is like a lot of very obnoxious narratives about weight loss that don't help.
And she's making a stance that the diet industry is bad in this video, but from this TikTok and the last TikTok, it's clear that she has internalized a lot of the negative messaging from the diet industry.
Yeah.
She said that the diet industry exists for weight loss. That isn't true. The diet industry is there to make money, but she
But I think that's what her point was, no? I feel like you misinterpreted what she's saying. She said it was very capitalistic. Oh, my fucking tits.
fell for the marketing. In the previous comment section, she kept saying over and over again how she's not lazy for not being able to lose weight, even though nobody called her lazy. But again,
Well, I think that was the point of her original video, was that like, oh, you're lazy if you don't lose weight. And so she was just like kind of piggybacking off that a little bit.
you're lazy if you remain fat is diet industry marketing. And she talks about how the science of weight
That most people think that. I just want you to know. Like, that's just to be clear. Oh my God.
loss is constantly changing. That's not really true. The science behind individual
hit
weight
that?
loss is pretty consistent year to year. The science always says to reduce your calorie intake. But new fad diets come out every year that claim to be science-based, and that's what she's referring to in this video as science, even though that's just more marketing.
And yeah, that's the thing, though. That's what you're seeing in the shop, like in the supermarkets. That's what you're seeing on the front page of like Google. That's what you're seeing on the front page of like Yahoo. Like everywhere that you're gonna see shit is going to be like those fucking fad things. And so it gives people, when these reputable places come out with like a fucking oh, this is how you diet the right way, especially when it's a fit person doing it who's never been overweight, by the way. It makes you think that like this is what happened. That's where a lot of this problem comes from.
By the diet industry to try to get people to buy products, not to actually get people to lose weight and keep it off long term. This is like how there's a new get-rich-quick scheme that takes off on social media every year that promises wealth, like NFTs or some fancy course.
Yeah, like the fucking Hustlers University, baby. It's all a scam, baby.
When in reality, the thing that's going to make most people financially stable is the tried and true way of simply saving money and not throwing it away on shady scams.
Probably going to school and getting a better degree.
Similarly, the way most people are going to achieve weight loss is the tried and true method of consistently eating less calories. It's not trendy or new, but it is the most effective way. So while a lot of what she says makes it seem like she's past believing anything that the diet industry says, a lot of her beliefs make it seem like she's still very much in the pocket of the diet industry. But in the comments of this video, someone said, "I was overweight for years and dealt with it by taking responsibility for my situation, starting with a better diet and workouts. No excuses." Maddie says, "So glad the science worked for you. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying people need to stop with the idiotic suggestions." Dietary changes are most of the issue when it comes to losing weight. Suggesting a better diet and exercise is not an idiotic suggestion. And in a comment from the last video, there was this exchange. Someone said, "Statistics can be misrepresented. Does that statistic mean that less than 1% of people who tried lose the weight?" And Maddie says, "We've all tried." The reply says, "Who's all? And how long? My weight loss journey took about 3 months to show any signs of improvement." Maddie says, "I've been trying for 15 years, and every fat person I've ever met has similar stories." The commenter replies, "You mean..."
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like on and off trying, which is probably what they're about to say. Like you on and off try because you like lose, you lose the fucking motivation for it.
On and off. You can't tell me you're consistently eating less than 2,000 calories for 15 years. Maddie replies, "I won't discuss calories with you. I have an eating disorder, but you don't care about triggering people."
Probably. But their eating disorder is probably that she eats too much food. Like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
You're just fat phobic. First of all...
But I also doubt that she has a diagnosed eating disorder, to be real.
This person didn't maliciously try to trigger you by mentioning calories. They were just asking a question. And they also weren't being
asking
fat
for
phobic.
A friend.
And if you make videos about weight loss, which is what this TikTok was, you have to know that someone is going to mention calories in the comments. So if it is this triggering for you to see the word calories, then don't make videos about weight loss.
That's true.
And second, I'm going to interpret the brash response Maddie gave to someone asking if she's stuck to a calorie deficit long term to mean that she hasn't stuck to a calorie deficit long term. So how are you going to make a video saying suggestions to eat less is idiotic and that it doesn't work for weight loss when you haven't done it? Even if you have an ED or you just don't want to eat less, you can't say that I've spent years following the science and it hasn't worked, but you haven't stuck to the most basic science that is consistent year after year and is the first thing that will come up when you search how to lose weight, which is eat in a calorie deficit. So yes, weight loss isn't rocket science. It's far simpler than that, even if you don't want to recognize it. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I've seen enough misinformation and generally horrible claims for the next week. So I hope you enjoyed the ride. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one.
All right. Interesting video.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.